All right. Let me let everybody get a chance. I'm going to pull chat up on my phone. If you're watching the recording, what I'm going to do today is have a short, brief sell. Anything I do not sell, I will list this weekend in the Etsy shop. If you're going to purchase something on the sale, I'm going to ask that you email. I put my email up there. And then after, I'm going to show you a few things I bought while we're waiting for people to get in that I got in. And then we'll art. So we'll let a few people. I'm a little early. I'm just making sure. Hi, Jean. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to set. I've got so much stuff crowded around me. Let me get the camera controls out too. Hi, Christy. Hi, Shauna. I guess I'm out as far as I go. All right. I just have so much stuff crowded on my desk. So let me show you what I got while we're waiting for some people to get in. Hi, Gina. I got a lovely card from Shauna. I'm going to put it in a 5x7 frame. It's 3 swatches of watercolor, and each one has an individual doodle. And she's done several of these on some of her streams. Shauna, put your channel in the chat so that if some of the people don't subscribe to you, they can go check it out. So it was in just a nice little, lovely little card like this. And like I said, I'll be able to fold it back, and I'm going to put it in a little frame. I'm going to find a 5x7 frame. I know we have them. And put it in our room. Yes. Then thanks to Marta and Shauna. So this is like 6 degrees of enabling. Shauna was trying the 13 arts because Marta uses the 13 arts. So she had a stencil out, and I was like, oh, I love that stencil. And she's like, oh, I'll get it for you when I order. And I went on to go look, and I fell in the stencil hole. So I was like, no, don't bother. I ordered it already. Yeah, I got my 13 arts. So I had gotten here. Let me hide that, and I'll put it back up later when we need it. So I got the stencil that is a dressmaker's pattern. Love, 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 because I use sewing references in my work all the time. The tissue, when I first started, I did a lot of vintage girls that were from sewing patterns. I need to go back to some of that too. Then I ordered, this one is a script. And this one was kind of like a horoscope. It reminds me of that stamp that Zandra sold, that Carabella stamp that Patty has and Shauna has and Zandra has and I don't have, that I like. And then this was some scribbly writing. It's script, but I liked how I don't know if it's even in English. I just liked it because it's different. It reminds me of kind of, and it would be a good background. Yeah, I know we probably picked very similar ones. Then I got a tree one because I like using my Crafters Workshop tree stencil, and I thought this one was good just as a variety. I like using them to make marks, but not necessarily make trees. And then this one was an ad for fire and life insurance. And I liked just that kind of vintage signage. And again, it's text. I think this one will definitely have to be, most of these, I think you'll have to sponge through or use ink and use one of the brushes. So when I get to that stage on my journal that I'm doing, I'm definitely going to use some of these. I don't think I'll get there today. And then the other thing I ordered is Tracy Weinstaffel showed a petri dish with, she was using the small jelly arts, the triangle, I think, and she was using it. And I was like, oh, those would make such cool, like quilt jelly. I really like the idea of like you could make a quilt pattern using the little jellies. But I didn't get the jelly art ones. I got the gel press because they were less expensive. The jelly art minis were $20 for each package. And I had to get both packages because I wanted the hexagon, because I liked it for like the bee stuff. And it has a little rectangle and an oval, but I just wanted the hexagon. And then I got the other one that has the circle, the triangle, and the square. And if you're quilting, this triangle plus the square, you can get quite a few different shapes. I wish there was a right triangle one, and I might take this little, but this rectangle one would be good too. But you could probably block off. I think I could mask the square to make a right triangle. So one of these was $11, and the other one on Amazon was like just over 14, like $14.12. So I thought that was a much better deal. And I'm going to bring home petri dishes from school when I get to go back into my classroom. I know I have a bunch of disposable petri dishes because she put them inside when she was storing them, which is way easier than the little clamshell. And she used the bottom of the petri dish to use it as like to stamp with. So I got those. And I'll use those on my go around on my journal, but not today. All right. So I think yeah, I say that every day, Nikki. Every day. I was at, whose stream was I? Oh, it was Brooke. It's all Brooke's fault. I ordered the paper. I got the black paper, but y'all have all seen that the Astro, I got the right weight. So now I have the cardstock black and the copy paper black. So I'm covered. I ordered that, and then I ordered some really neat things like old ticket invoices from Brooke's shop. I meant to put stencils in there and I forgot. And then I was like, I'm not ordering anything else. And then I snuck over and ordered stamps on Amazon. So I have 3 sets. Yeah, they're all tools. What can you say, Jersey? It's just, I give up. I'll just keep making things with them and then I don't feel bad. So let's go ahead and start the sale. Let me put my email back. I still have Deborah Brown. If you're watching this or listening, I put your order on Etsy. I just need you to pay for it so I can ship it. And Belinda W., you never emailed me, and I have your order put aside, but I can't send you a PayPal invoice or an Etsy because I don't have any of your information. Yeah, so buttons. What I have is, it's just close to a half a pound of buttons. It's 70 grams. No, take that back. 140 grams because I doubled it up. 140 grams of assorted buttons. And I was going to sell those for $5. And then I got to thinking, wait a minute. They would go really cute in these bags. So I have their vinyl pencil pouches that I sell at art and craft shows for like $10, and they're in the Etsy. But I'm not going to any art shows this summer or this fall. So this is $10 and this is $5. And I thought, what about doing this? If you buy the buttons and a bag, $10. So if you're interested in buttons, I have 4 sets left of assorted buttons and a bag for $10. Put in me, and then I'm going to refresh my chat and I'll go in order and let whoever got first tell me what bag they want. All right, go. So it'll be $10. You get to choose a bag and a bag of assorted buttons. All right, Jersey. Okay, bag A has like flowers like magnolia type. It's teal with some pink flowers. Bag B is chevron. It's yellow and gray. Bag C is marbled with coral and teal and a little bit of lavender. Bag D is Timmy paper that has roses. And bag E is a blue and white damask or toile. A, perfect. All right, and I'm going to set this aside. All right, so that is the buttons. Like I said, I have 3 more bags of the assorted buttons, and the bags by themselves are $10. But like I said, it's 10 if you want the button and a bag, or 5 if you just want buttons. So let's just do if anybody wants. Yes. Yes. Or Dresden. Yes, Stepware. That's it. Yeah, that's what. All right. We'll put the buttons and the bags aside. The bags are already listed in Etsy. I'll just have to take Laura's bag out that she bought. And I'll list the buttons that I have. All right. Excuse my pizza box. That's for later. I do have some specialty buttons that I bagged. This first one is sewing themed. I'm going to scoot the camera in. All right. There are sewing machine buttons that are shanked. And there's 4 that are the same, that are kind of a lavender, a blue, and 2 gold. And then there's this one that's different. There are 2 little miniature spool beads. There is a pair of scissors. And there are several that there's also a little ball of yarn, and there's several of these. They look like yarn wrapped on a card is what they remind me, or of a skein of yarn or a spool of thread. I mean, and they're in assorted colors. There's 3 that are in the pinks, some blues, some greens, a cream, a dark or purple or navy. All right. If anybody's interested in one of the sewing, but I just have this one set. Just speak up if you're interested in. All right. The next set of specialty buttons is flowers, bees, and planters. And in this set, there are assorted, there's a couple different types of bees. There's these little shank buttons that are clay pots. And then there are several buttons that are flowers, little daisies with smiley faces, little flowers with orange or yellow centers, some little glittery. Some little dolphin. I don't know why that there were some dolphin beads that were tiny. I just threw them in this bag. So that's kind of there's a lot of the ones that are the sunflowers with the little smiley faces. Just assorted floral. So it's and bees. All right. And then the next one is kind of a mod set. It has lips, hearts, VW bugs, some like smiley face flowers in different sizes and colors. Then just some smiley face, some smaller cars, some, like I said, it's a lot of smiley face type, very 60s sort of mod. Little flowers. So that's what's in this little mod smiley face set. Reminds me of the 60s in those bright colors. All right. And then one more set of the specialty buttons. And this is kind of a hodgepodge here. I think these should go to Brooke. These, like, they're doll heads that are buttons, a flag. There's kind of like either a Halloween or a Harry Potter set. There's an owl. There's a castle. There's a cat. There's a wizard. There's an hourglass. It looks like a wardrobe. A witch's hat. Some of this was just so random, I wasn't sure what, I know they kind of somehow go together. Then there's like a dog. There were 2 cupcakes. There's a couple candles. There's stars. And there's some small hearts and a pencil. Oh, this is a wizard's hat and a fish. Like I said, it was just kind of a strange little groupings of things. I was like, okay. And that's the last specialty set of buttons. The other day we sold all the brass ones and the crystal ones. All right. So, and like I said, I will list these. I'm going to charge $5 for the specialty bags. Probably 3 or 5. I haven't. If anybody wants them today, I will sell them for 3 for the specialty. I think I'll list them for 3 in the shop. So if anybody saw one they want, let me know. All right, books. Let's do the main what I have. All right. Why is my camera? There we go. All right, so this is the Book of Knowledge, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 14 of these books. They are in excellent shape. They are 1951 is the copyright. They are not like the books that Johnny showed in the sense that they do not focus on one topic. It's not like one is plants and animals and one is architecture. In each book, they have a section called Earth, Science, Wonder Questions, Animal Life, Plant Life, Our Life. They break it down, and then there's topics that are discussed. A lot of black and white photographs. Every book has a section with poetry and short stories. It has history. It'll have U.S. and world history. It'll have something on plants and animals. It will typically have a few color photos in each book. But it's not like one book. They're not alphabetized in the sense that I can't say, oh, you'll get cats in this book, or you'll get zoo animals in this book. So they are and then before I do this, I have one annual, and the annual is from 1953. It's a little different. It's a brighter red. It has more color on some of the pages. But it's basically set up similar, and it tells you what are some of the updates in the articles. They are a slick page. They are not, there's no water damage. There could be some pages that have been taken out or torn out because I did briefly use them. And I'm going to sell them for $5. Like I said, I have 14 books plus this annual, if anyone is interested. And when I did the shipping with the book rate, it fell right at for $5 for everybody when I did it. Hi, Cat. Hi, Curly. So it's the Book of Knowledge. All right, and I'll list those in the shop. All right, then I just have a couple more books. Good question, Kat. They are about 6.5 across, and they are about 9 3/4 tall, about 1 inch in width, and I would say most of the books fall in the range of, they're always numbered. This ends in 3,396, but it's weird, they don't start with 1. I think it's continuous, from the page numbers are continuous from book to book. But when you, yeah, they are 6.5 by 9.75 by 1 inch. And there's no water damage. And I'll ship these book rate, so they'll ship separately. And it'll be $10 basically. Yeah, they're great. They have, I like the poetry and the stories. I find that could be good. I'm just trying to move room out of my studio. I need that. In fact, I already turned the shelf that they were on into another place to hang stencils. All right, and then I have a few books from school that I don't use, that I don't need. Some of them are damaged. This one came apart. It's Backyard Critter Detectives. It's oversized. It's got all kinds of pictures of bugs, some butterflies. It's not damaged. The kids just, the pages are coming out because they're so hard. And I have $3 on that book. Hi, Kimberly. Then I have 2 books on flight. They are completely damaged. The covers came off completely, the boards. The book itself is not damaged. It's just the kids are so hard on the covers. In fact, I thought about just putting this in as pages. And it's about planes and has oversized pages. Hi, Kathy. And then I have a second book. It's a big book on airplanes. Same thing. The cover is damaged. $3. It says 5, but it's 3. In fact, if somebody wanted both plane books, I'd put them together for 5 or 4. Like I said, this stuff is in the garage. And it's got to go. Gotta go. If I don't sell the books, I thought about cutting the pages and using them somehow in that way. Then today I pulled just a few more. And this one, these are all going to be 5. When I price them out on Amazon, they're all like $5 to $7. I have one that prices out at $800. I'm like, what crazy person is paying $800 for a book on spiders? Then you scroll down and you see like 30s in the $30 range, which still I don't understand why it's $30. This is called Pigs on the Move. It's a math book. It came with an old textbook. And it's all about these pigs that are going on a trip and telling time, but it has really cute pictures and images. So I have Pigs on the Move. Then I have I Love Guinea Pigs, which has a story about taking care of guinea pigs and lots of little guinea pigs that could be fussy cut in here. Isn't that one funny? All right. And then the next one is Shoreline. This is an eyewitness book. And I thought it would be a good for like maybe for reverse collage. For those of you who like to do reverse collage. And it just talks about what organisms live on the shore. Worms. Which ones live in shells that are mobile. Fish. Reptiles. Fans. Different unusual animals that are found at the shore. The cover's gorgeous in the inside pages. So again, like I said, all of these are going to be $5. The next one is also an eyewitness. It is Rocks and Minerals. And it talks about the tools, different types of rocks, has pictures of gemstones and crystals. Gives you some information. What's the difference between a rock and a mineral? This one is a story. Again, I thought about reverse collage or the people doing like the fishy journals. It's called A Sea Within a Sea. It's a story about seaweed, basically. But it has some really pretty illustrations in it and bright colors. Another one that would be kind of good for reverse collage, probably. The fish that are down in the dark. It reminds me of that color book that everybody was coloring that picture with all the little hidden fish in the, talks about not a jellyfish. Sea turtles. Flying fish. Other fish. Yeah, this is a cool, yuck. How they end up at the dinner table. That's not, I guess it's the food chain. I have one more. This one is a book of questions and answers about the world around us. And it talks about all different topics in science. It has a lot of pictures in it. Birds, lots of animal pictures and dinosaurs, plants, your body, airplanes, trains, cars. But they're decent size. Some of them are oversized, but some of them are the right size. Ooh, I like that octopus. All right, that's it. Jersey, I have your mailing address, but I don't have your email. So like I said, I'll list all of those in Etsy. And Jersey, I'll probably go to the post office early next week, but I know you won't go till Friday. Let me take the email off, and I'm going to stop the banner too. We don't need that. All right. So I'm working in a Pizza Hut box just because I was tired of getting the overspray. What I have done, this was repair. I'll show you. Cut this off. I started with the comp book, gluing 2 pages together, and I pretty much have decided that that's probably a useless endeavor. Now what I have done is I have taken the mixed media line of sprays that won't spray. Oh, I know, part 2. I didn't watch part 1. I need to scan through it. These are just deli papers that are dirty that I use to separate. The front of the book is still a little damp, but what I've been doing is spilling water and this ink, the Amsterdam, and this in combinations and letting it kind of just soak and spill on the pages. The other thing I'll do is I will use a piece of the deli paper to smush and transfer ink to another page. So sometimes you'll see that. So I've got the front ready. And then I went to the back and worked in the back. But I will tell you, like, multiple pages are coming apart. That, you know, the glue, because I get them so wet that, and then it's hard to glue them back together again. I know it's partially the glue stick I'm using. I have some other glue sticks that are coming, but this is what I had here at the house. So as they come apart, when they're dry enough, I'm just gluing them back together. But I know they're going to go through. So this is an example that was transferred using the deli paper. So when I had the deli paper between 2 damp pages and I got ink, then I would move it and smush it because I like those marks. But my goal was I'm making one pass with all of this. And I don't care that some of them are dark. I'm trying to vary the colors. And usually I dry them enough and I keep the deli paper in them till they're not going to stick. Usually if they're sticking, it's on the edges, because this is all acrylics that I'm using. But like this is, I worked a lot yesterday. This is all real damp. Now here I had it tear on me. So I just took some stamped tissue that I had and glued it over the tear as a repair. So this was some crackle stamped tissue, and this was another piece of tissue that I had stamped. It had the page ripped when I was turning it, and this had stuck together. There's another one I know that's torn, but I couldn't find it this morning. See, this is another one that's coming apart. but I'll just go in and like glue those. Right now it's too damp. And I just work in sections of about 3 to 5 pages. And my goal was to get this round done. Now I've already shown you kind of how I do this, but I'll show you real quick again. We'll just do a couple. So I'm going to go ahead and those, I'm going to call those, they have paint on them. So I put the deli paper where I'm going to start and stop. And I'm just using the same deli paper from the previous journal. Thanks, Eileen. All right, and then I've been trying to do like get the left side wet and put the inks on the left side so when I flip it, it's not as big a mess. All right, so then I'm just taking ink and squirting ink, literally, and then I'll set it to the side like, oh, okay, I've used that ink. To kind of help me keep rotating. And I try to do colors that aren't going to make mud. And then I add more water. And then I flip these wet pages over and I smush. And then if I sometimes fold the papers on themselves, fold it over. I'm trying to get some of the extra ink on other pages. Trying to get the corners, so I'll fold them up. So that I'm getting ink everywhere. I also like that little smooshy softness that you sometimes, the ink gives a real soft. It dries super. I really like how the Amsterdam, and I don't mind about white because this is just like a first pass. So then I'll take and put this, and I'm just picking up some of that moisture. That wet ink. And then I'll come back and transfer it. Then usually what I'll do is dry the left side. And I don't dry it to the touch dry, just enough where then I'll take a dry piece of deli and I'll lay that in there and I'll flip this over carefully. And so then I'm going to go to the next round and I've got some of that blue and green coming through. And I'm going to add some more water. This is why it takes days for it to dry. And let's add, this one was hiding, so I didn't use it. No, that's not the one that was hiding. This one was hiding. These are clogged. They will not spray. So I'm just splotting with them, using a brush. However, I think I can get them out. I spilled one on the table last stream. My goal is just to use these up. And that yellow and purple may make a brown, but I don't dislike brown, so and then like I said, I'll smush. I don't think enough went in these areas. And see how that purple's beaded up there? We don't want to waste that, so we just come put that over here. There's some blue on there. And then I'm gonna, this page isn't wet, but I'm gonna just soak up some of the extra. All right, and then I'll stick this back in there, dry. Right, and then that's what I've been doing. That's the first pass. This is what I'm doing. And then what I would do is later on this evening when I let that dry, and then I would come back in and I need to finish kind of this area. And I'm down to finishing this area. So I only have a couple more. Then everything's going to have ink in it. So let's go back to some of these front pages that are dry for right now. Oh, somebody asked me a question. Sorry. I don't remember the answer. So let me move these out of the way because I'm going to, that was that first pass. So I want to move that box of ink and paint out of the way and put the spray bottles that don't work My goal with this journal is to use stuff that you forget you have before it goes bad. All right, and then I'm going to get out the new paints I got that were Sparks. The Distress Oxide is the main thing I want. Oh, because I think my next pass, what I want to do is add Distress Oxide sprays. So I'm going to use my oxide sprays and the ink pads that I have and do the next pass with that. And I'm going to use my 5x7 jelly plate. Normally I would do like smack and drag on the table, but I'm trying to like sort of control the water. So what I'm going to do is I want to put blue on this one. So I'm going to put Salty Ocean on my jelly print, and then I'm going to spray it. And then I'm going to carefully lift it up and flip, and I don't really care where it goes. All right, and then I'm going to come back a couple pages and kind of go, okay, that's all of that. So there's some red in here, so let's take the Abandoned Coral. And I'm going to be honest, I don't care if I pollute the ink tops the way I use them. All right. Because I want that splattery look. All right, and then let's give it a spray. I am not using the Delusions in this journal this time. Maybe what I'm looking for is in here. This is the Spray Stain, the Antique Linen. And I think I'm going to go with a little bit of the white. That sprayed funny, but I don't care. So I'm just going to flip that onto there. All right, I'm going to go darker with this one. I think I want to go with the espresso, the ground espresso. This is the Spray Stain. Just going to get a little bit on my plate. I'm just barely pumping. And I like the beat it up effect. All right, I'm gonna go with the spice marmalade, and I want to pull out some more of that orange that's in there. Hi, Elizabeth. And these will spray once and then quit. And then I'll clean it and then I'll do its thing. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. Let me get a baby wipe. All right, and I'm just going to, I want a little more concentration in a couple areas. All right, and then I can add some water to that. And kind of close it on itself. These don't stick as bad as the acrylics will. So I'm kind of happy with that. There's some orange right there on the paper. Might as well get that little bit right there. And someday I'll probably be using these. So I think I'm going to go with the seedless preserve. I do have the spray, which I'm going to use in a minute, but I want some dots of this, I think. I want some of that across that blue to kind of break up that blue. All right, and then let's go in. Now I could use the new jellies that I bought too that are small. This is same color. I think I want it on the sides. But I think I want to add to that the antique linen. All right, we'll add the fossilized amber on and I'm going to add that on the sides again. Sorry, I'm trying not to spray my phone as I'm spraying towards my phone. All right, and then I'm going to add some water to that and smush. And I think so you can see like where this is completely come unglued, but I'll just glue it later when it's dry. All right, and there's yummy goodness right here. And I'm just gonna put on this page. It's just where it oversprayed onto the And there's some purple right here. So every once in a while, I'll pick that up. So I kind of like this one. I also like to sometimes, if I spray it with the water, blot with a paper towel with the oxide, because then it'll lift and give me marks. Hi, Glenda. Hi, Sin. You can see like that one where I jelly plated on. All right, let's go. Let's go green with this. And I'm going to spray that one side and then get it wet and smush it. And see how much color I can get to transfer. No, not a lot. And I get my book super wet. But I'm just going to use the other page to kind of blot some of that. And get some of that off of the deli into different places. All right, and then I'll stick another piece of deli. So my goal is to make this pass. Let's put some speckled egg with this one. To make this pass, this would be like the second pass. So every page would probably get some spray. Some of the ones that have the ink more farther in might not get as much of a distressed oxide. Then I'll probably use, so I'll show you. Let me go back to one of the back of the book. This is and see how I would work on that, and then I would usually flip. So I've got the middle wet. So let's come to the back of the book that I did, and it's relatively dry. Okay, so like here's some dark pages that I don't see that they need any more layers of ink unless you see just an area that didn't get color that you want to add some color to. So I'm just going to take a mini and smush in a couple areas that didn't get color. Kind of just framing it. And then I'll take a wet brush and try to soften that sometimes. So there's just not like hard ink pad marks. All right, and then I think I'm going to take the white and I'm going to put some on the jelly plate. It's going to turn a little purple because of the plate. And I want to kind of just kiss those dark areas. And I don't even care that it mixed with that purple. But I like, and it'll dry and kind of almost disappear. But I'm not done. This is just, I'm just building layers. So I'll probably leave that just the way it is right now. One of the things that I used is I used Black India ink. And I like the dark and light that you can get a contrast. All right, this is Broken China in the spray. See, and it's not going to show up very well. So I'm going to do a little bit of the white and a little bit of the Broken China and see if and it'll dry a little lighter. I'm just trying to break up that dark field if it's gotten too dark. And if I keep doing that, it'll get kind of a cloud-like ethereal look. It's cleaned off. And I don't want to lose some of this, so I'm going to dry it. When I'm doing this by myself, then I dry way more. Okay, see, that's where it needs to be glued again, where it's completely come unglued. I don't know if it's pretty damp. That'll help. So this one, I don't think I'm going to add anything. Nothing. So like I said, some of these don't have any white spots, don't need any ink, because I use way more liberal amounts of ink. Could just be a little that's just the espresso, just to get some of that aged look. And turn it. This one's lighter, so this one can take more. Let's try a spray through a stencil. It's the new Stencil Girls stencil. We'll use the speckled egg in the distress. I think this is mermaid, which is fine. This is the speckled egg. And then we'll flip that. Let the negative kind of go over there. So sometimes I'll use stencils. Now that I need to dry before I move on. I'm trying to wipe some of these as I go too, and put the lids back on them, because I'm bad about losing lids. Like that doesn't fit to a Ranger. That feels like it fits on a Lindy's, which means one of the Lindy's probably has a Ranger. No, they don't fit the same. This is off of something else. And that's my problem, is these stupid things. I need to mark them all. Well, it'll work for right now. I need to mark them all with like color tops. Bye, Gina. All right, so let me dry that. Enough that I can not distort too much. Turn it. Okay, so then the next, clean the little snotty nose. The next pass, the third pass, I'm going to stamp and do tissue. And I like to do tissue across the pages, because it helps reinforce that center, because I've been getting it so wet and pulling on it. So my first pass was the liquid inks. My second pass is going to be all the distress sprays and that water-based sprays. Well, Lindy's too, probably. My third pass will be some stamping and inking. For this round, I will probably use the gray ink, the VersaFine Morning Mist. I like that gray. And I have several like number or texture. I'm going to try to keep this one more abstract, this journal. But a lot of this will disappear. So I'm not even too worried about like getting a complete impression. So that will be my third pass, is to come through and do some stamping. And that's one of the things I bought, was I bought some more stamps that could be texture stamps. And like I said, I'm not concerned if I get it, because I'm just looking for that little bit here and there to show up. So that'll be my third pass, is stamping with inks. I need to buy some white ink. Speaking of buying things, I need a good white ink, that pad that shows up. All right, so first pass, the inks. Second pass, distress oxide. Third pass will be stamping. Then the fourth pass is going to be jelly plating and stencil work and adding acrylic paints. Part of that towards the end will be collaging. The very last bit will be collaging bolder features and like finishing up and maybe using some scrap paper. So the very last will be collage. So for example, oh, and the other thing I'm going to do is, close your ears, Eileen. I like using my ink tints. And so this is kind of how I'll use them. Let me find, I'm going to find a page that's, all right, so this is probably dry enough. All right, this is a cherry. I'll just sort of doodle. Abstract. I can use stencils also at this point. And then I'll doodle that, then I'll get it wet to set it. It won't bleed a lot, but that'll set it. And then that could get covered up. I don't know. But the journal has to be dry. If you try to do that and the journal's not dry, then it will tear. The other ink tints product that I'm going to use on some pages, I want to do all of the ink tints and the stamping before I do the jelly plate. Because before I get the acrylic on there, because right now it's smooth enough. All right, let's take that same stencil that I had out a few minutes ago. And this is red oxide. No, let's use a turquoise. All right, so this is just a broken stick. Paula has been using the crayon sticks to do a similar thing. But this is a water base. I don't know how well this is going to work over here because this is wet, damp. So it's hard to put too much pressure. So I'll get some pattern. All right, so put that up. Yep. Eileen does not like ink tints. And then what I'll do is I will spray that. And because once it's sprayed, it'll set. And I may lose a little bit of the pattern, but I'm not too concerned. And then I'm going to dry that just a little bit. See, like I just poured that. But that's okay. That's what the tissue is for. This is just tissue or that's been jelly printed, like a little circle. And what I'll do when I get a tear like that, usually I don't worry about it until later, is now I can daddy van that if I want to make it go translucent. I'm going to let that hang off that page. But then because I tore both layers, I'm going to wrap it around the other side. So that kind of just fixed that little tear that I got. Because I was just careless. I was just turning it and I tugged it. So you have to be very careful when you go to turn the pages. Dry that. So basically what I'll end up doing is that's going to lead me to probably use some other jelly printed gold circles or jelly print some. That was a stamp probably that I have that I use gold paint. This is what I was talking about when I used the deli paper, and you can just see that the little drips on the deli paper, how you get really good marks. Hi, Dar. We missed you. We're glad you're popping in again. So that's what I'm doing with this journal. And at this point, it needs to, I can only do so much on it and it gets too wet and it needs to dry. Like I said, I'm going to keep it abstract. I'm just about done with the ink layer. Then I'll go through the distressed oxide layers and sprays. Then I'll do the stamping and the ink tints, markings, you would call it. Then I'll jelly print and stencil work, and then I'll collage. So each page will have about 5 passes before I'm done. I don't think I'm going to do any images. I'm going to do collaged bits. Probably it'll be a lot of circles, line work. I'm going to use some of the Stencil Girl stencils. Like I found this in my stash. It was probably just extra paint that I put through a stencil, but on one of those pages, it'll be perfect. On one of the pages that had that colors in it. Or even a page that has little to no, like this will end up with color. So something that has that color in it, and it'll pop on there. So that is the journal plan and vision for the journal. I'm not going to stream any longer today. I've been fighting a little bit of a headache. I know Curly T has a sale. I will put up the buttons and bags are already there, and the books in the Etsy shop if any of you are interested or thinking about it. On Tuesday, what I will probably do is do all my distressed ink. I'm going to finish the Amsterdam inks, the new Amsterdam inks, the white pages, and I'll do all of the distressed like I showed you today and let that dry over the weekend. And then Tuesday, what I'll do is work on the stamping, the ink tints, and making some of the mark making. And we won't have to have the pizza box. But the pizza box has saved. I mean, because it was a brand new pizza box when I started. And it's getting gnarly. But then at night, what I usually do is I close it. And I don't know why, but I like to weight it down and put some heavy stuff on it. So as it's drying, it stays flatter. I don't know if that's in any way helpful. No, no pressure. I think we need food. Oh, school update. Some of you were around yesterday when I said they sent the parents a letter, email. The students can choose in school, online or a flexible option. But the flexible option, it said, I read it, a different thing today that came to us. The flexible option has to be in writing because they can't just stay home one day and say, I'm online today. Oh, I'm in school tomorrow. It has to be in writing. If they think that something changes in their household, and they need to go online, then they have to put it in writing and notify the office so that and I'm assuming it's going to have to be within a time minute. And then we today, as employees, got a survey and it went all into like, what was your experience teaching online? What was your experience at home like? Were you stressed? Do you have childcare? It was talking about online, and also what was your feelings about the COVID-19, like where you were at. Now it doesn't ask for your name, it just asks what district. Then it asked about going back to school and what your concerns were about going back to school, and it asked about I have a feeling we're going to start online. So, and then I think we'll move into in person. My only issue is it's going to make it online was fine. I know my kids were used to using the online, but that came in the back half of the year. My concern with middle school is not that they can't do it, and most mine had computers and internet, so that was not an issue really. Was these are new students. I have sixth graders who have never come to my school. So things are different at the elementary. Expectations are different at the elementary. So, like, we don't even get digital access usually until 3 or 4 weeks into school because we're waiting for them to get their emails and for the district to upload everybody. So, I think starting school online will be harder. If we have to start that way for the sixth graders. It will be no big deal for the students that are matriculating up because they are used to all the programs. So I think that it will be tough if we don't start out with any kind of meeting or any kind of, but if that's the case, it'll have to be like videos that walk them through things. So it's all up in the air what we're going to do. I expect to be back myself physically at school every day, and I think we'll have kids be in a combination. However, Texas is got one of the high states that have the high rising levels. So I don't have any health problems. I'm older. That's my only concern is that Bob and I are older. I don't want to get it. And we have been social distancing, but I just hate the idea of having the argument that kids have to wear a mask all day, and that's going to be an argument. I don't know how we'll social distance if 75% come to school. Because my room, half of it, if I had 15 out of the 30 in my classroom, I'm not able to social distance with my room, the furniture that I have. How I do labs, if we do an online, luckily this year we were in topics that it was okay. But we're going to argue with these kids to wear masks all day, and then they're going to go outside and play together and take their mask off. I see it in my neighborhood. I see it down the street, the football practice, 50 kids hanging out. So they're not they're not doing safe practices. So I'm exposing myself to so many people that are not, and we have limited our exposure, Bob and I. So that's my main, I just know that there's a lot of people that haven't social distance or limited. And there's that concern. And wearing a mask all day. I think I may crawl out of my skin. So nothing's decided, and yeah, and it's politics, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I feel like some of it is politics. They did the right, my district has planned and already said that it was highly probable that we would start the year online. So I feel comfortable that my district will make good decisions if my government does not completely. Like, we have a governor that made decisions about school without talking to the unions or TEA, the Texas Education Department. That drives me nuts. Like, Dr. Scarf, she could be, probably to try to tell him how to stop the rate. Bye, Joycey. I'm fixing to leave too. I need to go get something to eat. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Jersey, I will get that in the mail Monday or Tuesday so that it'll be there Friday. Email me, Jersey, or I'll message you if I'm sure you're already gone. Thanks so much, guys. Oh, I didn't hear that. We watched her, but Bob rails at the TV usually. Yeah, and I can see different counties. That will be if that would be the same too in Texas, because there are some places that are very rural, but I do not live in a very rural area. So, and I have contact with a lot of kids every day, and if they're not practicing safe, I don't control what their family does. So then I don't have control over my exposure, essentially. So I don't know. I'm in a quandary as to what's better. I know going back to school is in some way better for the kids. They need the interaction with their friends. But I think people are overdone quarantine. I think they've hit their limit of being isolated too. Oh, that was nice. We haven't heard anything about a raise. My other concern is Bobby's unemployment's going to run out. So if the kids don't go back to school at all, then we'll have to live on my income. Then I definitely will not be shopping. So, but it'll all work itself out in the wash. All right, guys. Oh, good, Eileen. I won't say anything about ours beyond what I've already said. All right, peeps. I will see you later.